Good morning, everyone. Lee Henson here from AgileDad. It's time for today's edition of the Daily Stand-Up. Without any further ado, let's get started. This week, we're focusing our attention on leadership and executives, and we wanted to continue our series with the Executive Agility Playbook. Now, I got super excited when it was time to create this because I really felt like there was a huge gap or a huge need where nothing like this existed, and I hope that this week's sessions help bring clarity to why we created this and what the intention is and how we can press forward doing this. And I think that if you didn't get a chance to listen to these in order, this is the 1 week where I will request that you listen to the podcast or the episodes in order. Listening to them out of order is going to give you some great information, but there may be a key or a nugget that you missed from yesterday that's going to lead into today. So the first question of the three that we asked was, what do I need to know about Agile? First and foremost, Agile's just not a one-size-fits-all solution, right? Spandex aren't for everybody. There's truly no red pill, blue pill approach to business agility. Agile's not all about getting work done faster. It's not your ticket to an instant increase in productivity. But when applied using a pragmatic, humanized approach, Agile is a tool to help you eliminate waste and focus on outcome over output. The race to build the most widgets is over. Modern companies are learning to dig in and identify their target consumers explicitly and better understand their needs. By doing this, they reduce the number of products or services that are in flight, and well-formed teams that are reasonably sized can now swarm in and get the work done, thereby driving increased revenue and faster time to market. Agile is centered and driven in common sense approach. And I think that's something that a lot of people forget. They try to turn Agile into something much bigger or much different than what it was originally intended to be. There was a study done by McKinsey back in 2018, and they talked about some key elements. They said, what type of things is Agile going to help me learn as an executive or as a leader? And I found this study incredibly interesting, and the information that came from it was really good. Some of the examples. So one of the things they said it would help you learn is about economic and market factors and how Agile impacts these. You learn about technological advances and how that impacts your product or service. You learn about how people are currently using the internet, mobile devices, and social media, and how that impacts your ability to produce the right product or service. It also helps you focus on the globalization of both the workforce and of economies, and seeing that we could do a session on each one of these topics, and it would take us several days to get through. But I'm just giving you the high level here. These are all things that you can see now that you couldn't see before. You can learn more about the quickly evolving environments that your product or service is being used in. You can be introduced to disruptive technologies and learn how to react proactively instead of reactively when these disruptive technologies are introduced into your workspace. The acceleration of information is just incredible. You're going to see all this information that you couldn't see before, and it's going to bring you into what's being called the new war for talent. And this was labeled as new in 2018, but I would argue that it's probably still a new war today. The best people are going to cost a pretty penny at this point. And what we're seeing is that there's so many people out there who have Agile skill sets, but not all of them are cut from the same cloth. And one of my best explanations for this is that even if you went to one of the authorities, let's position a Scrum Alliance as an authority and say that their certifications at the 3 different levels will help you identify, target associates or target talent that you could bring into your organization to help you implement business agility. Not all trainers and trainings are the same. And what we've discovered is that certain organizations or that certain individuals who attend training from certain organizations aren't being equipped with all the tools necessary in order to do their job. Now, I want to be clear. In no way is this a knock to the Scrum Alliance. It's just saying that the level of consistency that you receive from one trainer to the next really varies. If you have a wildly experienced trainer, In some cases, that trainer may be stuck in book knowledge and stuck in a really dogmatic approach to you must do this, you must not do this, as opposed to a new trainer who just learned about this, who might say, hey, I have some new innovative approaches. And, it's not saying that all old trainers are bad, because there are some really experienced trainers who really dig in and have on the feet on the ground experience that can help you really push things, because they've already walked a mile in your shoes and they know exactly what's going on. So the question begs, and this is the second part of the McKinsey study, what are the 5 trademarks of an agile organization? How do I know where I stand? And I love this list. Number 5, you're focused on building the next generation of products and services. What you have today is good for what someone needed before. What you're focused on is where the future takes you, and you implicitly understand the needs of your consumer. Coming in at number 4, dynamic teams that ignite passion. I love that. T-shaped teams that are excited and passionate about the product or service that they're building. People who understand what the product development lifecycle is like, and people who really focus their attention and just love what they do. There's something to be said about people who love what they do. I've been in so many organizations where, people are just there to get the paycheck. And if you have an organization that is dull, or an organization that just really doesn't have that fire, you need to figure out what's going on as a leader and help them get that fire. Number 3, rapid decision-making and learning cycles. If you're applying Agile correctly, decision-making should come easily. And even if you fail, it's okay. And that's why we put learning cycles in there, because oftentimes when you fail, you learn. When you learn, you grow. And it's just one of those things where you have to embrace failure as an option and say, hey, you know what? We need to get this done. Coming in at number 2 is creating a network of empowered teams. Wow. Yeah, I used the word empowered, but a lot of people don't take that seriously, or they don't take it to heart. If you're in an Agile organization, every one of your teams feels empowered to make critical choices, to make decisions, to build high-quality products and services, and to really drive value. And coming in at number 1, my favorite of them all, is if you are an Agile organization, you have a North Star embodied across the organization. Everyone knows clearly where we're trying to go and what's trying to happen. We call this the mind shift set, or the mindset shift, right? This is where the organization gets the culture and establishes a mind shift and says, we're gonna shift and focus our attention to where it needs to be, as opposed to driving all the different directions. Now, that's not to say that sometimes the end consumer isn't out in a second star to the right, and straight on till morning. It's just, you have to understand where the North Star is for the organization, and everyone should know, and we should all be driven and focused and driving towards that direction. And that, of course, begs, what mindset are we in currently, right? Are we in a fixed mindset where we know our product and service and we know our target audience and we're just in a fixed mindset and all we have to do is build it and they will come? Or are we in a growth mindset where we're trying to really better understand our consumers and their needs, and instead of constantly focusing our attention on building a faster horse, we understand the need to build a car at some point? And I think that this is, the whole segment on fixed versus growth mindset. It teaches us to embrace or to understand complexity and uncertainty, because if you don't understand it, complexity and uncertainty lead to unfocused solutions. Using Agile allows teams and organizations to iterate products and services so that they can make sure that they get their head around uncertainty. The empirical process allows organizations to constantly inspect and adapt and transparently optimize and get the right mindset around what they're trying to build. If we come in and really focus and limit our work in progress and focus on that outcome over output and get a good understanding that less is more, Agile drives and promotes a true growth mindset. We should be focused on growth. We should be focused on excitement and energy. And I think it's sad to see organizations who get so laser focused and locked in on, a specific way of doing things that they miss the entire, ability to wow, their current target market and consumers. There's so many times where I see, we're so lost in trying to solve a problem in a way that maybe a subject matter expert prescribes that we lose the ability to focus on whether or not that's even the real problem that needs to be resolved. So my hope is that now that you understand, what you need up front and how this works and what this type of agility is going to get to you, we can focus our attention tomorrow on how do we get started. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Daily Stand-Up. As always, we encourage you to go to AgileDad.com where you can learn more about this topic and many others. Until next time, stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Do take care.